I made this image in Sofia, Bulgaria. Let's walk through how I made the image, what was I thinking, and what gear I used and what were my settings. Hi, it's Peter here. This video is part of my new series of videos where I talk about an image that I made. I try to make these once a month, and it's called A Story of an Image. And let's start with the gear. I had my Fuji X-S20 and TD Artisan AF 27mm f2.8 lens on my trip to Sofia. The reason I took that because I wanted to test the TD Artisan 27mm f2.8 pancake lens. And yes, it is an AF lens, which makes it very interesting. And it is really similar to the Fuji 27mm f2.8 pancake lens, and the lens hood that I have is from squarehood.se. It's a Swedish company that makes these durable and very good looking lens hoods, and since it fits TD Artisan lens, I took it because I think lens hoods are very important when making images. It protects the lens, the front element, and also it protects from the front element getting any unwanted flares. The settings that I had was 1/600 of a second, f5.6, and ISO was 160. And I did have the face detection on so that it will focus on the face when the window opens, or to focus on the person that I'm photographing. It's a very good way of making images on the streets, because if you have a person in the image, most likely you want that person to be the sharpest in the image. And yes, I forgot to say about the lens, disclaimer. That lens was sent to me from TD Artisan, and they have not seen this video, nor have they, told me what to discuss about the lens. So everything I say about the lens is my own opinion, even though I'm not gonna talk that much about the lens. It's all about the image. And let's talk about the thinking process and how this image came reality. I was walking around in a park in Sofia. There is very little B-roll. Sorry for that, because, when you're walking, you want to concentrate on the images and not making the video or shooting video. But anyways, there were a lot of kids and people around the park, and I took a few shots in the park just because, wanted to do this type of images a bit more, because there were quite a few people. But of course, most of the people noticed me, and so candid shots were not possible, even though I got a few. And I saw this guy on the other side of the park, and I noticed the balloons, which I thought were balloons at first, but there was some kind of colorful balls that he was probably selling. I did not see what was going on. But while I was photographing something else, I had my eye always looking also what the guy is doing, if he's probably leaving or coming towards me, so because I knew that there is a photo opportunity. Then I saw the guy leave the park, and what I did was, yes, I followed him. And some might think that I'm a stalker, but I can see that point. But I did not do any harm, of course, except taking the photograph if someone thinks that's harmful, but I don't think so. I think in a public place you can photograph whatever you want. It's about how you present the image and how you respect the subject, and never photograph people in trouble or publish images where you show the people in a bad light. Always respect your subjects. And I took a few shots on the way because I thought that something would happen, but it didn't. So these images that I show you now are not very good images. They're just an example of the way I work, because when I'm photographing, I am ready to take that shot when something happened. And yes, something did happen. He turned around, or turned to the sideways, and went inside the coffee shop that was there. And the way he went was that he saw me and looked straight at me. And I think in that case, this image is good because of the eye contact at this point. Sometimes you want to do candid shots, but this time I was quite happy that he looked straight into my eye. And also the light was perfect. Nice side lighting, good direction. It's a bit too harsh, but on an image like this, I don't think it's that bad. I think it works quite well. And if you look at the dark side of his face, it's against a brighter part of the background, and the lighter part is behind or in front of a person in shadow. So there is a good separation from the background, because when I'm out in the streets, I always use f5.6 or f8 or something like that when I use my 40mm equivalent lenses. I think that gives a nice amount of depth of field, and also if I miss the focus slightly, it doesn't matter because there is enough depth of field. And when I'm out there in the streets, I want to show the environment. Then it's really important to have a good separation so that the subject doesn't blend into the background, and on this one it doesn't. And then I was also lucky that the tram was coming behind. I heard it coming and I was hoping that when something happens it will be blocking some of the clutter in the background. And that's why I think the position of the tram is just perfect. And the lit Sophia text is just pure luck. It's a reflection from a window from the store or some, I don't know if there's a mirror or something, but it's not made in post at all. It was brighter, but of course it became brighter when I added the contrast. And speaking of luck, it's always something that we need, because without the good luck, we won't get any images. And if you think that I have more luck than others, that's not true, because I had plenty of luck on my photo walks in Sofia, and you can watch a video about my discussing how hard street photography is and how to make it easier for you. So when the luck strikes or you see something, it's up to you to grab that moment and get it so that it's a pleasing image. And the composition is also quite pleasing, because the leading lines, everything in the image kind of leads to the man. The sidewalk, the side wall, and the tram, it kind of also frames the guy and makes it the main subject, also visually, not only as a subject but also visually. And the front on the right side, I did darken that a bit because it would have been too bright and would have taken some, attention from away from the guy. And also the composition, the position of the man inside the frame is quite good. It's not perfectly a golden ratio or a rule of thirds, and it's a good thing, because I like when it's slightly off. It makes more tension to the image, and it's more interesting when there's a slight little fault in the composition or something else that is a bit distracting. That only makes the image more interesting, in my opinion. And then the editing part. I did not do that much editing, as you see from this straight out of camera image. I didn't have to crop it at all, and only thing that I did was some contrast with the curves and the contrast slider, and lowered the highlights slightly, and then of course darkening the right side, the sign there, which I said earlier. But other than that, it's almost straight out of camera, and I think the colors and the high contrast and the deep saturated colors fit this, even though they are slightly muted, and I was going for this type of look on this image. And if you enjoy this video, then you might enjoy that video too. It's a story of an image that I did about a month ago. Give it a like and make a comment. What do you think about the image? And what do you think about going after a subject, walking behind and stalking the image? Do you find it improper, or how do you feel about that? But hey, thanks for watching, and bye for now.